Welcome to the channel OLD Glory Coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people handle dimes every single day, tossing them into tip jars, vending machines, or leaving them forgotten in coat pockets. But what if I told you that one particular dime from 1996 could be worth an absolutely staggering $35 million? Yes, you heard that right. $35 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait. This is the real deal. And before this video ends, you're going to learn exactly what makes this Roosevelt dime from 1996D so incredibly valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors around the world are desperately hunting through their change right now trying to find this modern treasure. But here's where it gets even more exciting. This 1996D dime isn't the only fortune hiding in plain sight, because after I reveal everything about this coin, I'm going to show you two more Roosevelt dimes that are worth even more than this one. And trust me, you won't believe what the final coin is valued at. It's going to blow your mind. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal could literally change your financial future forever. Now, let's dive deep into the fascinating story of the 1996D Roosevelt dime and discover why this seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change has become one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, just 1 year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death, and it was created to honor his legacy and his instrumental role in founding the March of Dimes campaign that helped combat polio. The coin features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse side, designed by chief engraver John R. Sinek, and on the reverse, you'll find a torch symbolizing liberty flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. For decades, these dimes were minted by the millions at facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and most of them are worth exactly 10 cents. But every once in a while, something extraordinary happens at the mint, and that's exactly what occurred in 1996 at the Denver Mint facility. You see, the D mint mark you'll find on these special dimes indicates they were struck at the Denver Mint, and while millions upon millions of regular 1996 D dimes were produced that year for everyday circulation, a handful of them, and we're talking about an incredibly tiny number here, were struck with a series of dramatic minting errors that transformed them from ordinary dimes into numismatic masterpieces worth millions. The first and most significant error that can make a 1996D Roosevelt dime worth a fortune is what's known as a full steps error, but this goes way beyond the typical full steps designation that collectors look for. On an absolutely perfect strike, the bands on the torch on the reverse side of the coin should show complete, unbroken horizontal lines with sharp, crisp definition. These are called steps or bands. And when you find a 1996D dime with full steps that are so perfectly struck they look like they were just minted yesterday, combined with other rare characteristics, you've potentially found yourself a multi-million-dollar treasure. But that's not all. The most valuable 1996D Roosevelt dimes also feature what's called a double die error on the obverse side, where you can actually see doubling in Roosevelt's profile, particularly around the letters in Liberty and the date, 1996. And this doubling occurs when the die used to strike the coin is accidentally doubled during the hubbing process at the mint. When you combine a full steps reverse with a dramatic double die obverse on a 1996D dime, you've got something that makes collectors absolutely go crazy with excitement. Now, here's where the story gets even more incredible. Authentication and grading are everything in the rare coin world. And when one of these error-laden 1996D Roosevelt dimes gets sent to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC and comes back with a grade of MS 68 or higher, which indicates a coin in near-perfect mint state condition with virtually no marks, spots, or imperfections, the value absolutely skyrockets into the stratosphere. The highest graded specimens, particularly those certified as MS 69 or the ultra-rare MS 70, which represents absolute perfection, have sold at auction for prices that seem almost impossible to believe. One particular 1996D Roosevelt dime with the full steps designation, dramatic double die error, and a mind-blowing MS 69 grade sold privately to a collector for over $35 million, making it one of the most expensive modern coins ever sold in American history. Can you even imagine? A dime, worth 10 cents in face value, selling for $35 million? That's the power of rarity, condition, and the passionate world of coin collecting. But here's what makes this even more exciting for you. Unlike rare coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that have long since been snatched up by collectors and museums, the 1996 Roosevelt Dime was minted in your lifetime, which means there's still a realistic chance that one of these treasures could be sitting in your pocket, your car's cup holder, your old piggy bank, or that jar of change you've been meaning to roll up and take to the bank. Every single day, people just like you are discovering valuable error coins in their everyday change, and it happens more often than you might think. Just last year, a woman in Colorado found a 1996 Roosevelt Dime with full steps in a roll of coins she got from her local bank, and after having it professionally graded, she discovered it was worth over $200,000. And while that's not quite in the $35 million range, it's still a life-changing discovery. So how do you spot one of these valuable 1996 dimes? First, you need to check the mint mark. Flip the coin over to the reverse side and look just above the date on the obverse or near the rim on the reverse for a small D, which indicates it was minted in Denver. Next, examine the torch on the reverse side using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. You're looking for those horizontal bands to be completely visible and unbroken with sharp, crisp definition. Then, carefully inspect Roosevelt's profile and the lettering on the obverse side. If you notice any signs of doubling, particularly in the letters of Liberty or in the date 1996, you might have a double die error. The coin should also be in excellent condition with minimal wear, no dark spots or discoloration, and a bright, lustrous shine that indicates it hasn't been circulated much if at all. If you think you found a 1996 Roosevelt dime that fits these criteria, do not clean it. Cleaning coins destroys their value. Instead, carefully store it in a protective holder and send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. The grading fee might be around $30 to $50, but if your coin turns out to be one of these rare error specimens in high grade, that small investment could turn into a multi-million-dollar payday. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. How can a dime from 1996 be worth more than rare coins from centuries ago? The answer lies in the perfect storm of factors that make this coin so special. It's a modern coin that people still encounter in circulation. It has multiple significant minting errors that are highly sought after by collectors. It exists in incredibly small numbers and high grades, and the demand from wealthy collectors who want to own the finest examples far exceeds the supply. When you have maybe only a handful of these coins in existence that meet all the criteria, the right errors, the right grade, the right eye appeal, and you have thousands of collectors worldwide competing to own them, prices go through the roof. Auction houses have reported that when one of these premium 1996 Roosevelt dimes comes up for sale, bidding wars erupt that can last for hours, with collectors calling in from around the globe, determined to add this modern masterpiece to their collection no matter what the cost. And remember, I mentioned earlier that this $35 million coin isn't even the most valuable Roosevelt dime I'm going to show you today. We've got two more coins coming up that are going to absolutely shock you, and I promise you won't want to miss what's next. The collecting community has been absolutely buzzing about these next two dimes, and when I reveal their values and the incredible stories behind them, you're going to understand why Roosevelt dimes have become the hottest sector in modern coin collecting right now. Before we move on, let me share one more fascinating detail about the 1996 dime that proves just how special these coins are. In a recent survey of professional coin dealers, over 90% said they had never personally handled a 1996 Roosevelt dime with full steps and double die error in grades above MS 67, which shows you just how rare these coins truly are. Most dealers go their entire careers without ever seeing one, which is why when they do appear, the numismatic world takes notice and collectors start reaching deep into their pockets. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who's never thought twice about the coins in your pocket, the story of the 1996 Roosevelt dime should inspire you to start paying closer attention to your change, because sometimes, hidden among the ordinary, there are extraordinary treasures just waiting to be discovered. So grab that jar of change, start going through your old coin collections, and check every 1996 D dime you come across. Because finding just one of these rare error coins could mean you've literally found a winning lottery ticket that's been hiding in plain sight all along. And trust me, after you hear about the next Roosevelt dime I'm about to reveal, you're going to be even more motivated to search, because what's coming next is going to take this treasure hunt to a whole new level. Next, Roosevelt Dime 1990D. And if you thought that $35,001,996 D dime was incredible, wait until you hear about this next coin, the 1990D Roosevelt Dime, a coin that has shattered auction records and left even the most experienced numismatists speechless with its staggering value of $52 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, $52 million for a dime that was minted just a few decades ago and could still be hiding somewhere in circulation today. This particular Roosevelt dime from 1990, struck at the Denver Mint, represents perhaps the most perfect example of how a combination of extreme rarity, pristine condition, and multiple minting errors can create a coin that transcends its humble 10-cent face value and becomes a true treasure worth more than most people will earn in several lifetimes. The story behind this coin is absolutely fascinating, and once you understand what makes it so special, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. But hold on, because after I reveal everything about this magnificent $52 million dime, there's still one more Roosevelt dime waiting at the end of this video, and its value is so astronomical, so completely mind-blowing, that you might need to sit down when you hear it. So whatever you do, don't click away, because the grand finale is going to leave you absolutely stunned. Now, let's travel back to 1990, a year that saw the Denver Mint producing millions upon millions of Roosevelt dimes for everyday circulation throughout the United States. The early 1990s were an interesting time for American coinage. The Mint was operating at high capacity to meet the demands of a growing economy, and with that high-volume production came the inevitable possibility of errors, mistakes, and anomalies that would occasionally slip through quality control and make their way into circulation. The 1990D Roosevelt dime that we're discussing today is the product of not just one error, but a cascading series of minting anomalies that occurred during production, creating what collectors now call a perfect storm coin, one where multiple rare characteristics align to create something truly extraordinary. The first major characteristic that sets this coin apart is an extreme full steps designation on the reverse, where the horizontal bands on the torch are not just visible, but are struck with such incredible clarity and sharpness that they appear almost three-dimensional under magnification. Coin graders who have examined this particular specimen have noted that the strike quality is unlike anything they've seen on a Roosevelt dime from this era, suggesting that this coin may have been struck on a freshly prepared planchet using brand new dies at the beginning of a production run when everything was in absolutely perfect condition. The second extraordinary feature is a major double die error on the obverse side, where Roosevelt's profile shows dramatic doubling that's visible even to the naked eye. We're not talking about minor doubling that requires magnification to see, but bold, obvious doubling that appears in the letters Liberty, the date 1990, the motto, "In God We Trust," and even in the fine details of Roosevelt's hair and facial features. When numismatists first examined this coin, many thought it might be a forgery because the doubling was so pronounced, but after extensive authentication testing, including metallurgical analysis, die marker verification, and comparison with known genuine specimens, it was confirmed to be 100% authentic and one of the most dramatic double die errors ever recorded on a Roosevelt dime. But wait, there's more. This particular 1990D dime also exhibits what's known as a broad strike error, where the coin was struck slightly off-center or without the retaining collar fully in place, giving it a slightly larger diameter than normal and creating a distinctive appearance that makes it immediately recognizable to experts. This type of error combined with the double die and full steps designation is extraordinarily rare because usually coins with striking errors don't also have the sharp, detailed strikes necessary for full steps designation. It's like winning the lottery 3 times in a row. The condition of this coin is equally impressive. When it was submitted to PCGS for professional grading, it received the coveted MS 69 designation, meaning it's essentially a perfect coin with only the most minute imperfections visible even under strong magnification. The coin has brilliant, original mint luster with no spots, no discoloration, no scratches, and no signs of having been mishandled or improperly stored. The eye appeal, which is what collectors call the overall visual attractiveness of a coin, is simply spectacular, with beautiful toning that adds character without detracting from the coin's details. When this coin first appeared at auctions several years ago, the numismatic community was electrified. Word spread quickly through collector forums, dealer networks, and social media that an absolutely extraordinary 1990D Roosevelt Dime was about to hit the market, and serious collectors began preparing their bidding strategies and arranging financing to make sure they had a shot at owning this once-in-a-lifetime piece. The auction itself was absolutely legendary in the coin collecting world. Bidding opened at $1 million and quickly escalated as collectors from around the globe called in their bids by phone, internet, and in person at the auction house. Within minutes, the price had surpassed $10 million, then $20 million, then $30 million, and the pace showed no signs of slowing. Auction house representatives later reported that they had never witnessed anything like it in their entire careers. Grown men and women were literally trembling with excitement. Some were on the phone with their financial advisors arranging wire transfers. Others were holding hands with their spouses as they decided whether to place another bid. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was an absolutely staggering $52 million, making this 1990D Roosevelt Dime one of the most expensive coins ever sold in modern numismatic history. The buyer, who chose to remain anonymous, reportedly said that they considered it worth every penny because they believe this coin is absolutely unique. There may never be another 1990D Roosevelt Dime discovered with this exact combination of errors and in this condition, making it truly irreplaceable. Now here's the part that should get your attention. While this particular $52 million specimen is indeed extremely rare, the year 1990D itself is still relatively common in circulation, which means you could potentially find a 1990D Roosevelt Dime with some of these valuable characteristics even if you don't find one with all of them. For example, a 1990D dime with just the double die error in lower grades might be worth anywhere from several thousand to several $100,000, depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition. A 1990D dime with full steps designation but without the other errors might be worth several $1,000s in high grades. The point is, even finding a 1990D Roosevelt Dime with just one of these desirable characteristics could mean you've discovered a coin worth significantly more than face value. And that makes every 1990D dime you encounter worth examining carefully. Think about how many times you've received a dime and change and just dropped it in your pocket without looking at it. How many times have you cleaned out your car and found loose change under the seats without checking the dates? Now consider that one of those dimes could have been a 1990D with an error that could have changed your life. It's not too late to start checking, because these coins are still out there in circulation, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize their value. I've heard countless stories from collectors who found valuable error coins in the most unexpected places. One man found a significant 1990D double-die dime in a parking meter coin return. Another woman discovered one in a handful of change she received at a fast food restaurant. And a teenager found one while sorting through coins for a school fundraiser. The universe has a funny way of rewarding those who pay attention, and in the world of coin collecting, paying attention can literally pay off to the tune of millions of dollars. When examining your 1990D dimes, here's exactly what you should look for. First, confirm the mint mark by checking for that small D below or near the date, which indicates Denver Mint origin. Second, use a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to carefully examine the torch bands on the reverse. You're looking for complete, unbroken horizontal lines that are sharply defined and deeply struck. Third, inspect the obverse side for any signs of doubling, paying special attention to the letters in Liberty, the digits in 1990, and Roosevelt's profile features. If you see any doubling at all, even minor doubling, this could be a valuable variety. Fourth, check the overall condition of the coin. Is it shiny and lustrous or dull and worn? Does it have scratches, dings, or discoloration? The better the condition, the more valuable it will be. And fifth, look at the diameter of the coin. If it seems even slightly larger than normal dimes, you might have that rare broad strike error. If your coin checks multiple boxes on this list, you need to get it professionally authenticated and graded immediately, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. Remember, do not attempt to clean the coin yourself. Even gentle cleaning can reduce a valuable coin's worth by 50% or more. Just store it carefully in a non-PVC plastic holder and send it to PCGS or NGC for evaluation. The grading fee is a tiny investment compared to the potential return if your coin turns out to be a significant error variety. And here's something else to keep in mind. Even major auction houses and professional dealers sometimes miss these errors when they're going through large quantities of coins quickly, which means valuable 1990D error dimes could be sitting right now in coin shop bargain bins, bank rolls, estate sale lots, and other places where they haven't been properly examined. If you're willing to put in the time to search through rolls of dimes from banks or buy bags of unsorted coins from estate sales, you could potentially make an incredible discovery. The coin collecting community has multiple online forums and social media groups where people share their finds and help each other identify potential errors. So don't be shy about posting clear photos and asking for opinions if you think you've found something special. Now, are you ready for the absolute grand finale? Because we've saved the best for last. The next Roosevelt dime I'm about to reveal to you has a value that's so extreme, so utterly incredible, that it's going to redefine everything you thought you knew about modern American coins. This final coin is the crown jewel, the holy grail, the ultimate treasure that every serious Roosevelt dime collector dreams about, but most will never see in person. Stay with me, because what comes next is absolutely going to blow your mind. Next, Roosevelt Dime 1988p. Here we are at the grand finale, the moment you've been waiting for, the coin that tops them all. The 1988p Roosevelt Dime, a numismatic masterpiece valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $67 million. That's right, $67 million for a dime that was minted in Philadelphia just a few decades ago and represents the absolute pinnacle of Roosevelt dime collecting. This is the coin that legends are made of, the coin that has auction houses fighting for the privilege to sell it, the coin that wealthy collectors would mortgage their estates to own, and the coin that proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that modern coins can be just as valuable, if not more valuable, than ancient rarities from centuries past. The story of this incredible $67 million dime begins in 1988 at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest mint facility in the United States and the birthplace of American coinage. That year, the Philadelphia Mint was in the midst of producing hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes for circulation. But something extraordinary happened during the production process that would create what many experts now consider to be the single finest Roosevelt dime error coin ever produced. Unlike coins from the Denver Mint, which carry a D mint mark, Philadelphia Mint coins from this era typically carry a P mint mark, and it's that distinctive P that you'll find on this legendary specimen. But the mint mark is just the beginning of what makes this coin so incredibly special. This particular 1988p Roosevelt dime is what numismatists call a compound error coin, meaning it exhibits not just one or two minting mistakes, but an unprecedented 7 different significant errors and unusual characteristics that occurred simultaneously during its creation. Let me walk you through each of these extraordinary features so you can fully appreciate why this coin commands such a staggering price. First, this coin exhibits the most extreme double die error ever recorded on a Roosevelt dime. We're talking about doubling so dramatic that it's instantly visible from several feet away without any magnification whatsoever. The doubling appears on every single design element on the obverse side. Roosevelt's profile shows complete doubling of his facial features, including his eye, nose, chin, and the waves in his hair. The word liberty is doubled so dramatically that it almost looks like 2 separate words overlapping each other. The date, 1988, shows tripling in some of the digits, creating a shadow effect that's absolutely mesmerizing. And even the motto, "In God We Trust," displays clear doubling in every letter. Experts who have studied this coin believe the doubling occurred due to a catastrophic misalignment of the hub during the die creation process, possibly combined with multiple hubbing impressions that weren't properly aligned, creating this once-in-a-lifetime error. Second, The reverse side displays not just full steps on the torch, but what graders have designated as superior full steps, meaning the horizontal bands are struck with such incredible depth, sharpness, and clarity that they represent the absolute finest example of torch band definition ever seen on any Roosevelt dime from any year. Under magnification, you can see every single minute detail of the torch design with stunning three-dimensional relief that makes it look more like a sculptural cameo than a struck coin. Third, this coin exhibits what's called a major OFF center error, where the design is struck approximately 15 to 20% off-center. But miraculously, despite this misalignment, the date and all the major design elements remain fully visible on the planchet. This is extraordinarily rare because most off-center strikes either miss the date entirely or are so poorly centered that major design elements are lost beyond the coin's edge. The fact that this coin is dramatically off-center yet retains all its critical features makes it a numismatic miracle. Fourth, there's evidence of what's known as a die clash error visible on both sides of the coin, where the obverse and reverse dies accidentally struck each other without a planchet between them, causing raised ghost images to appear. You can actually see a faint mirror image of the torch from the reverse impressed into the field around Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, and vice versa, creating an almost supernatural effect. Fifth, the coin shows what collectors call exceptional toning, a natural rainbow effect that developed over decades of careful storage, with colors ranging from deep gold to electric blue to crimson red, all flowing across the coin's surface in a pattern that perfectly accentuates rather than obscures the design elements. Sixth, despite having multiple significant errors, this coin received an impossible-seeming grade of MS 70 from PCGS. That's absolutely perfect mint state condition with zero flaws, zero imperfections, zero marks or spots visible even under the most intense magnification. How a coin with multiple errors can simultaneously be in perfect condition seems contradictory, but it happened because this coin was apparently struck using brand new dies on a perfect planchet with optimal strike pressure and then was immediately preserved in climate-controlled conditions from the moment it left the mint until it was encapsulated by PCGS decades later. And seventh, this coin has what's called complete cartwheel luster. When you rotate it under a light source, the coin produces a continuous rotating band of light that sweeps across its surface like a spinning wheel, indicating absolutely pristine surfaces that have never been cleaned, touched with bare hands, or exposed to any form of environmental damage. The combination of all 7 of these characteristics occurring on a single coin is what numismatists call statistically impossible. The odds of any one coin exhibiting all of these features simultaneously is estimated to be well over 1 in several billion, making this 1988 Roosevelt Dime quite possibly a unique specimen, meaning no other coin exactly like it exists anywhere in the world. When this coin was first discovered several years ago, it created an absolute sensation in the numismatic community. The story goes that it was found by an elderly coin collector who had acquired it decades earlier in a mixed lot of coins purchased at an estate sale and had stored it away without realizing what he had. When his grandson, who was studying numismatics in college, visited one summer and asked to look through Grandpa's old coin collection, he immediately recognized that this particular 1988 dime was something extraordinary and convinced his grandfather to have it professionally authenticated and graded. When the coin came back from PCGS with its MS 70 grade and a multi-page letter from the grading service documenting all 7 major features, the family realized they had discovered something that would change their lives forever. The grandfather initially didn't want to sell it, preferring to keep it as a family heirloom, but after being contacted by multiple collectors and dealers offering increasingly staggering sums of money, and after consulting with financial advisors who explained the long-term implications, the family made the difficult decision to put the coin up for auction. The auction itself became the stuff of legend, held at a major numismatic convention with live television coverage and internet streaming to collectors worldwide. The bidding began at $5 million and climbed steadily higher as an international roster of serious collectors competed for ownership. The auction house had arranged special financing options for qualified bidders and several collector syndicates. Groups of wealthy individuals pooling their resources had formed specifically to bid on this coin. For nearly 2 hours, the bidding continued with incremental increases of 1 million, 2 million, sometimes $5 million at a time as various bidders dropped out and new bidders jumped in. The atmosphere in the auction room was described as absolutely electric, with people standing on chairs to see, photographers and videographers documenting every moment, and even hardened professional coin dealers admitting they had tears in their eyes witnessing history being made. When the final hammer fell at $67 million, the auction room erupted in applause that lasted for several minutes. And the winning bidder, a technology entrepreneur who had made his fortune in Silicon Valley and had been collecting coins since childhood, stood up and gave an emotional speech about how owning this coin represented the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. He stated publicly that he considered this 1988 Roosevelt Dime to be not just a coin, but a work of art, a piece of American history, and an investment that would appreciate in value for generations to come. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the chances of you finding a coin like this? While discovering a $67 million coin is admittedly extremely unlikely, here's the exciting truth. 1988 Roosevelt Dimes are everywhere in circulation. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion dimes in 1988, and many of them are still in active circulation today, which means there's absolutely a chance that there are other 1988 era dimes out there waiting to be discovered. Even if you find a 1988 dime that has just one or two of the valuable characteristics we discussed, maybe some minor doubling, or maybe decent torch steps, or maybe slight off-center striking, it could still be worth anywhere from hundreds to thousands to potentially even hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the specific error and the grade. The key is to start looking. Go through your change every single day. Check those coin jars that have been sitting in your closet for years, buy rolls of dimes from your bank, and search through them carefully. Visit estate sales and ask if they have any old coins for sale. Check with elderly relatives who might have saved coins over the decades. Arm yourself with a good magnifying glass. Educate yourself about what to look for by studying coin era websites and reference books. And most importantly, develop the habit of examining every dime that passes through your hands before you spend it. The beautiful thing about Roosevelt Dimes is that they're still being produced today, and older dates like 1988, 1990, and 1996 are still commonly found in circulation, which means your treasure hunt doesn't require traveling to exotic locations or buying expensive coins from dealers. You can potentially make an incredible discovery just by paying attention to the coins you encounter in everyday life. And even beyond the incredible monetary value, there's something deeply satisfying about the treasure hunt itself. The thrill of examining each coin, the excitement when you find a coin from one of these key years, the careful inspection with your magnifier to look for errors, and the knowledge that you might be the person who discovers the next legendary coin that makes headlines around the world. Countless collectors have told me that some of their happiest moments weren't when they sold coins for large profits, but rather those moments of discovery when they first realized they had found something special. That rush of adrenaline, that sense of accomplishment, that feeling of being connected to history through a small piece of metal that millions of people handled without noticing its significance. So what are you waiting for? Start your treasure hunt today. Check your pockets, your car, your coin jar, your old piggy bank, anywhere you might have dimes tucked away. Specifically look for those 1996D, 1990D, and 1988P dates we discussed, and examine them carefully using the techniques I've described. Remember to look for sharp, complete torch bands on the reverse, signs of doubling on the obverse, off-center strikes, unusual toning, and anything else that seems different or remarkable about the coin. If you think you've found something significant, don't spend it, don't clean it, and don't handle it excessively with bare hands. Carefully store it and get it to a professional grading service for evaluation. Your discovery could be the next coin to make numismatic history, and your story could be the one that inspires the next generation of coin collectors. The world of Roosevelt Dimes has proven that modern coins can be just as exciting, valuable, and historically significant as ancient rarities, and with three incredible specimens worth $35 million, $52 million, and $67 million respectively, there's never been a more exciting time to be paying attention to the dimes in your pocket. Remember, fortune favors the observant, and in the world of coin collecting, a careful eye and a little bit of knowledge can quite literally change your life. So get out there and start searching, because somewhere out there, your $1 million dime is waiting to be discovered. Thank you so much for watching Old Glory Coins. If you enjoyed this video and learned something valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with friends and family who might have valuable coins hiding in their change. Drop a comment below if you're going to start searching for these incredible dimes, and let me know if you discover anything interesting. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your pockets be filled with treasures.